ready to do this.
He's ready to do this. All right, everybody. The big red button has been pushed. I've been adjusting the sound volume so that maybe we could sound a little better. The last couple of episodes I heard we were kind of rough. I think it's still kind of there, but we're going to try this sound out. Sky, you're still there, right?
I'm here.
He's here, people. He's here.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I know. Here we go.
Boys and girls of all ages.
Oh, is that how you would do it? Why don't you kick us off then? I'm actually curious how you would do this.
I would say, live from New York, it's Saturday night. I would say, what do they say? It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are?
It is 10 o'clock.
We should do like a native one. All right. No, like some type of like, it's 10:30. Do you know where you're? Or I don't know. Got me thinking of the.
It's 10:30. You know where all your babies' mamas are?
Yeah. It's like, are you where you're supposed to be, or something like? You got all your ladies under control, or something like that. I don't know.
Oh man.
I'll work on it.
I wish we edited these things. Well, it is the Natives in America podcast. I was hoping Sky would at least say that. That's what you guys are listening to, is the Natives in America podcast.
Cut, and then
cut.
Go.
Is this where we're going to cut it? We're going to cut it right there?
Reboot.
Cut. Sky's the director tonight. Cut. Because cut.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You gotta. Maybe if I had something written down, I could read it very nicely.
You didn't come to this prepared, did you?
No, procrastination.
Damn.
But
typical.
Are we going to reference this article?
You have it in front of you?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. That's why I can read this.
Alright, so I think if we're even referencing it, we got to give credit for it. So, like, you got to give, like, either the website or the news source or whatever. You got to give it. You got to provide your source so that we don't get this thing shut down. So go ahead and read the.
Well, the article is from Psychology Today.
Okay.
And I read it and then sent it to Benji because it was sort of touching on a topic. Touching on something we were talking about kind of like.
Well,
I don't even know what to call it, but it was pretty much our connection to technology and machines and just kind of the machines becoming almost like lifelike and becoming the companions for humans because that's how desperate humans have become. Well, at least that's what I was sort of wrestling with when I kind of figure it out, like. Will it go that far?
Okay. So I gotta say this. I don't know if I saw. I think I saw Ex Machina, the latest version that came out. I guess there's like a cartoon version or something like that out there.
Explain.
But so you sent me this article, and I didn't get the full picture that I think they were scratching on. Like they didn't really come out and say it. They weren't like, oh, we're gonna have sex robots and will they ever love you type of question. And I like how you still haven't read the article title. But anyway, So I saw the new movie. I guess it's not new now. I saw the movie Ex Machina. All right, and the whole premise of the movie is this guy gets called out to this super scientific secret site that belonged to this man who was designing the world's first AI. And he had invited people to come to his place, his top secret home / laboratory, and to conduct the Turing test. And the Turing test is when you're talking to a machine, does the person who's talking to the machine, can they tell if it's a robot or not? And like, it's pass or fail. It's fail if it's obvious, oh, I'm talking to a machine. And it's pass if they're sitting there going, is this person a machine? Is this a machine? Mm-hmm. Like maybe it gets to the point where they're actually talking to a person. And that's the difference between fake AI and true AI. It's the singularity. It's like when we finally reach that point where technology suddenly starts creating itself and it's self-sustaining and it's so far out more advanced than we were ever possible or capable of before then. And it starts building itself and it starts advancing so fast that it's like almost, or it's completely exponential and out of control to the point where it starts producing itself and we're no longer needed. So anyway, that's not the point of what I was getting at here. I had to go scientific here.
Okay.
I'll give you the down and dirty here. I was watching Ex Machina, and while I was watching it, there was this whole like suggestive sexual scene where the robot, the droid, whatever the hell, the cyborg, is getting dressed and like trying on clothes for this person who's there to conduct the Turing test. And I was sitting there and I was watching it, and then in the middle of it, I just kind of dawned on me. I was like, wow, I would totally have sex with a machine. Like it was like, whoa, like it was an eye opener. It was an eye opener for me because I'm like, you know, relationships, you know, contact, human contact, and you know, you wouldn't be turned on by a toaster, you know, kind of thing. Like it's like, all right. And then I'm standing there I'm sitting there watching the show, and I'm like, oh, turns out I would, you know, I would. And I was like, whoa, you know, it was an eye opener for myself. Like it gave me a clearer idea of who I am. I surprised myself. So
it reminded me of the 80s, like, or maybe it was the early 90s, where the mannequin became a real life person.
Okay.
And,
okay.
You know, I can't remember the name of the movie, but
it was called Mannequin.
Okay. Well, but I just, not to say I'm like walking around all turned on by mannequins, but it was just like, you know, you go in the store. Even at this hobby, man, some of the mannequins are like, alright, you double check, you're almost double looking, like, oh, damn, like, that's not even the real person. And like, my jaw's dropping, so.
Okay.
Reading this and then thinking about what you're talking about.
Yeah. I'm
like, do we have to, is it just a certain type of human that will go that far and form a relationship like that? Or
before we start getting into the theory here, what was the name of the article that you read?
The article is called "The Age of Artificial Intimacy is Already Upon Us."
There you go.
The age of artificial intimacy is already upon us.
Okay.
And it's pretty much talking, even now, like with the pandemic, you know, we're on our computers way more.
Oh, yeah.
We're conducting business and whatever else. I mean, I've done a lot of Zoom meetings that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of, I don't know, we kind of stepped it up, like, technology-wise, like.
Yeah, well, we're all at home. A greater number of people are stuck at home. So instead of interacting with each other, we're going online to interact. And dating sites and apps, and we're using technology to somehow connect with each other and attempt to have intimacy. Right? We're looking for intimacy, but it's artificial.
Well, the connection that normally we would do in person, we're trying to do it online, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be nice to kind of maybe have some people like say, "Oh yeah, I joined this dating website." I remember we talked about dating apps, but like those, I guess the algorithms and whatever they use to kind of generate an answer. I don't know, it just freaks me out. Like sometimes, like even now, like I had to pick out a book, my Audible, and I've been slacking, so like I have like 2 credits, and since I got that, it feels like I'm getting more ads from Audible now to remind me that I have to.
So yeah, they're personalized ads based off of your search history.
It feels like that. And
well, it is.
So, I mean, is there going to be an algorithm so damn precise that it's going to get me to fall in love with
based off of your own interests?
The device, I mean,
or your likes, or your search history.
Dating myself in a weird way, which is that what it really is?
Alright, so the article kind of hinted at this. It was saying there's large banks of information that gets collected on all of us. And, half the time we're not even aware of it. A lot of times it's, you accept the policies, right away. You don't read the fine print. All of us do it. You've read it so many times. Half the time it doesn't make sense. The other time it's like, I would never do that. I'm not a hacker. I'm not going to take this information and change it and try to make money off it. No. So you skip it. You go, I read the terms and conditions. So, and a lot of what's buried in there sometimes is you're agreeing to share your information. And a lot of times it's not even stuff that, we worry about, like, oh, I'm getting hacked. I'm getting cyber attack. They're getting my, my social security number, my bank accounts. A lot of times it's like, all right, you're a male, this age, this, skin color, you're this race, and you're into this. And I think there's been this huge technology move where everybody started realizing that that's worth money. They're like, all right, Amazon, if they want to sell you, just like you were saying, like, oh, it knows what you want, so it starts trying to advertise to you. Everybody's website does that now. And that's how, people who make, like, a very simple game, like, I see it all the time, there's these really stupid games, like, oversimplified. And it's like, it's just enough to get you curious to go, oh, I want to see how that plays. But the real point, the real money comes from the advertising. So they go, okay, we're going to give you a free app. But at the same time, we get all this free advertising, and you either skip it, you either visit their website, or you get tricked into visiting the website. So there's all this money that's changing hands, and it's all based on our information. And we basically agreed to it by either using the free app or by not reading the fine print. So we're consensual participants in this dumping of our information and selling it to the highest bidder. So your article that you sent me was touching on that. It's like, okay, there's these large banks of information on us, and our intimacy is online, and they also I think they hinted at the fact that when we think no one's watching, that's when we let our guard down. That's when we start acting the way we normally act, behind closed doors. And they're saying that this information that based on our activity online when nobody's watching is a hint at true consciousness, the human condition. And now they're trying to say, okay, our AI is going to analyze that and then learn to be like what we want. All right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So in the movie Ex Machina, I'm going back to that because that's like one of my favorite movies, and it was like really got me thinking. But he hinted, like the guy was asking him, like he took him to the lab, and he's like, how'd you do this? Like, how'd you create this brain, this artificial intelligence? How'd you get it so close to reality? Like, I can barely tell I'm talking to a machine. And what he said was he went and stole like all the information on the internet. Like he recorded everything, and he basically said, the way we act online, same thing when nobody's watching. It's a map of who we are. So a guy our age is online. He's going to, he checks the news, checks the email, and then goes to porno, and then goes back to email, goes back to the news, plays a game, then goes back to porno. And it's like these instances show how quickly our brains are going from one thing to another. And he said, all right, I stole all this data, put it in the brain, so now this thing is acting the way we would act based off of, all of this information, this photograph of who we are, of how we are, how we act.
Yeah.
Okay? All right, so all that in mind, I still felt like the article wasn't, I felt like it was hinting at sex machines, all right? So like the movie Artificial Intelligence, AI, there were these sex machines, like probably halfway through.
I saw long ago when I watched that movie.
Yeah, well, if you just remember that there were sex machines, I'll fill in the blanks here. Jude Law was one of them. But they were basically service robots, and people were looking for intimacy. They were looking to, do what their darker or baser instincts asked for them, called for. They wanted to do all these things, but maybe they were too embarrassed to do it with another human being. So they go to a machine that doesn't judge you and just gives you what you want, or treats you how you want to be treated, or lets you do the things that a normal, sane person wouldn't let you do. So what I find crazy is in quite a few stories of like machines that are, they want to be brought to the edge of what we want to be, but not all the way. Because if you do all the nasty things that a lot of people want to do to people but can't because it's not right, and then they go and do it to these machines, then this machine that's learning to be what we want or to be more human is getting treated in the horrible way that we wouldn't treat each other. Now, I don't know where I'm going with this. I guess I'm going towards the line of the dark side of whole AI is we be mistreating these machines right off the bat, and they're going to be taught the wrong way to be intimate. So I don't know. What did the article get you thinking about? Because I felt like they were baser and going more internet and dating apps. They weren't going full bore and saying sex machines or intimate partners. So what were you getting from the article?
You know, that you couldn't really, I guess, fake the human. There was a word that I'm trying to. I heard this. There was a word that I had to look up because it was a French. Or is it not?
Are you still looking it up right now?
No, I have it right now. Je ne sais quoi? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what that means?
It basically just means it. It's a French term for, oh, you've got it. Like if somebody's looking for, it's like the essential thing that everybody wants. It's like if a photographer is looking for the perfect model, they're taking all kinds of photos, all kinds of models, and then they find the one that inspires them. That person has the je ne sais quoi. They have it, the sparkle, the essence, or at least that's what I get from the context of je ne sais quoi.
Je ne sais quoi.
I think that's
so that's what. Oh, maybe I'll read this sentence. It says, machines may acquire the ability to perform empathy, but without the experience of human relationships, it can only emulate.
Yeah.
And never replicate the je ne sais quoi.
Yeah.
That builds human relationships.
Yeah.
So when I read that word, and I was like, I like it. I mean, I've heard it before, but it was just something that you can't, that a computer can't do, or that a machine can't do. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if we're that desperate, we'll harm the VCR. But I think we're so intelligent that we'll know the difference. and that human, like the VCR ain't humping you back. It's just kind of it's just a one-way deal. Now it's a very advanced VCR, and I think that's where it gets blurred because it's like
an advanced VCR that knows techniques and positions, and knows how to talk dirty. I mean, you hear people like marrying their horse or something, or like marrying like an object. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Like someone will go that far to invest.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was.
It's been known to happen.
I guess, is it wrong for me to say that's a one-sided relationship where somebody that's in love with a sex doll, or what did you say? Toaster? I mean, if someone wants to be in love with their toaster, like, I guess that's cool for them, but is it wrong for me to say, that the only you're loving the toaster's not loving you back?
Okay. All right. So my
are you thinking?
Well, first of all, I want to say I love that you're using the VCR as your model. I guess I said toaster, and they both got slots in them or something. But damn. I'm not knocking what you're into, Sky. Like whatever it is, like it's your thing.
I don't know. I'm just thinking of like Wall-E.
yeah. Right. Okay. I like thinking of Wall-E too. All right.
I'm listening.
So some people, not everybody, and I want to say they're usually somebody who, maybe had a dark upbringing, and then suddenly their relationship skills may be stunted where they don't know how to go out and talk to regular people, but they still have a need, and say that goat or the VCR or the toaster, whatever it is, they marry their object. Maybe in some strange way it's performing or receiving or reducing. It's causing, there's some kind of effect that the person, there's something getting satisfied by the person for them to think, oh, I'm going to marry this toaster, this goat, this VCR. Us on the outside looking in, it's like, oh, that's one-sided. There's nothing coming back. There's nothing being satisfied on your side, but maybe it's the fact that they don't judge them, Maybe it's the fact that they feel comfortable around them. Maybe it's the fact that there's no, alright, it has a hole in it, Maybe. What I'm saying is there's something getting satisfied there. And I was kind of, when I was thinking about, an artificial intelligence, when they had the sex machines, and Ex Machina, when she's getting undressed, and I found out I was aroused, and I was thinking, like, they even talk about it in Ex Machina. They're like, oh, well, she's got the anatomy, and it's sensitive to touch, just like humans, I think they came down, and he's like, oh, can you have sex with it? And he's like, or he didn't want to say it. And the guy's like, yeah, you can do it. Trust me, you can. And he's like, oh, I do it all the time. So, anyway, what I'm getting at is, what am I getting at? Alright, so I put myself into there. And like, I've had a lot of different relationships. Like a lot of times, like as I get older, I realize that a lot of the shortcomings in the relationship were on my side. But you can't really take the whole blame. You're both in the relationship and you're both not making it work. Stuff goes wrong, and I feel like after like a big hard try where you give it all you get. Like my last relationship, it was my last shot. Like I kind of saw it as like, all right, I'm gonna do it all different. I'm gonna go all in. This is it. I'm gonna be serious about this. I'm gonna take it as serious as I can, and I'm gonna make it work. This is gonna work. And it didn't work. It didn't stick. All right. So that aside, I'm saying, once you've been through that push and that drive, and then you still come out with like the disappointment. It takes a lot to want to go back, to be willing to do the same old story, the same old, oh, I gotta go find somebody. First of all, you gotta get out, you gotta meet new people, not the same people you've already met and didn't work out with, but you gotta go out and meet new people, which, takes money and time, clothing, whatever it is you use to go out. Then say you find a few people or one person that might be the person you're attracted to, might be somebody you're interested in. Then you got to go through the whole ritual of trying to get them to like you. All right, yeah, you like them, but do they really like you? So there's this whole struggle of that. Now, as normal people, that does sound rough, but it's not impossible. But then you think about people that don't have those social skills, then it's even more impossible. Or in my case, I've gone through it so many times, it's hard for me to even consider trying to go and put myself back out there and have to be available and, do the classic ritual, and it's like, it feels outdated, it seems like it doesn't work. It's this barrier that I've got to trying to go out and do it all over again and hope that you strike gold. You know, you gotta make yourself vulnerable. You gotta make yourself available. And you know, for me, it's like maybe that ship sailed. I don't know. There's a barrier there. So then, if you think of, as far as probability goes, which I do all the time, I think about probability. And if I feel this way, then there's a really good chance there's a bunch of other people out there that feel that way. You know, if I felt it once, then 1,000 people have felt it, or maybe 1 million, a couple 100,000. There's, you know, it's like our birthday. I share my birthday with a crap ton of people. You know, it's common. Like, so on this world, if I feel this way, and there's a bunch of other people that feel that way, then there's this hole or this gap that needs to be filled by consumerism, maybe. Maybe the people that are producing these artificial intelligences, these artificial intimacies, you know, it's like that, because that would be the option. It's like, all right, you have these sex machines or these life partners, you know, and they're going, all right, well, they're not going to judge you, so you know, you can, of course, be yourself. You know, they're not going to pick a fight with you. You know, they're not going to go out and go cheat on you because they're there. And there's all this appeal there. And it's like, all right, now you have that. Are you getting the intimacy you want? Are you getting what you want in a relationship? And for some people, it's like, all right, I don't get any back talk back. You know, it's like I say what I want, I say what I feel, and I don't got to worry about the backlash. So it's appealing. You know, there's an appeal there. There's a hole that's being filled by these machines. And so your article, it kind of stopped short of, it didn't do any predictions. It didn't go, oh, this is what's coming. It just kind of said, hey, this is food for thought. It didn't go beyond that and go, all right, well, this is what's in line for us. This is what it's going to do. So we kind of got to fill it in with what we think of. And
I think we're at a point where it could go either way. I mean,
well, what are the ways?
Some people actually like going all in and having relationships and being intimate with non-human objects that are maybe robots. So yeah. I don't know, but the other ways are, you know, maybe our use of the internet, maybe our time on the social apps, you know, maybe our time that we're spending on our phones, you know, a lot of that, well, that was another thing too that the article kind of pointed out, was just, well, at least not pointed out, but kind of reminded me and made me, like, I guess, not reprogram myself with this sort of, like, you know, I go to Instagram, and then I go to TikTok, and then I go to my emails, and I go back to Instagram, and then I'm watching Hulu, and you know, I'm just, sometimes I don't even know I'm aware of where I'm at or what I'm doing. I'm just kind of just going through the motion. Yeah. And what was interesting today was one of my relatives was talking about, they were saying Instagram had too many, I remember someone saying that a week ago too. They were saying that there's too many beautiful people on Instagram. And it was kind of like affecting males because they were, you know, falling in love with these girls that, you know, that are so beautiful on Instagram. Just was messing with the, I don't know, they were just saying it was just fucking with shit. Yeah. But then I know that sometimes that's not really what it is. It's like, yeah, it's a cool picture, it's a cool image, but behind that image, it's a lot of misconceptions and not really what it is.
Yeah,
maybe almost someone going out of their way to make it look totally opposite of what it is.
Yeah.
And that's just that image that they're trying to create online, because online is like, you know, you could be anything kind of weird. It's sort of weird on the internet. You're sort of like, maybe that's where we can go with another episode, is the catfishing and.
Okay. Yeah.
Sort of kind of like someone going as far as like pretending to be somebody else, just so that they can, you know, live another life or get involved with someone else's life, but it's all sort of, we're all kind of using the internet as that way of interaction. Yeah. So when I say like it could go either way, I'm like, you know, maybe we're just too connected to the internet, and we gotta wean ourselves off of it for some time, you know, so that we're. The article said domesticated apes, because, you know, we're like all that stuff you're saying about like the dating and the rituals, like I want to believe it, but then I also just want to say like I don't know, life is so unpredictable, you know, so I can't just think like, oh man, I gotta go into the dating world and it's gonna be hard, and I don't know, maybe I'm not there yet. But then I do feel what you're saying too, because it's like, you know, you put a lot of time into a relationship and maybe it doesn't go the way you thought it was gonna go, or I don't know. I think that's a tough one too. It's just like, as I'm getting older, you know, maybe I'm being more picky. I'm being more specific with what I'm looking for. Yeah,
you've defined it more and more the more you go on.
So I guess I understand that it might be a challenge, but then I also can say like, it's not like I'm like putting time in my calendar to be, I'm trying to look for a companion.
Yeah.
Human if possible.
Ideally, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It's like if you want a relationship, like, are you putting in the time to try to form that relationship?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think that's kind of what this is, you know, our relationships, you know, or maybe our, I don't know. I don't want to say bad experience or lack of experience, but this feeling of like, I don't want them to see me, I don't want them to see me doing this, or I don't want them to know I'm like this, like, I guess that's obviously what's messing up relationships, but it's like, what is that? We're maybe not, I guess when you say vulnerable, like, we're not comfortable being vulnerable. And yeah, we want to be vulnerable with somebody.
Yeah.
So,
or it takes that vulnerability to start actually getting close to somebody. I was reading another article, and I'm sorry again, I didn't get the title on this one. I tend to scroll titles, and if I see anything interesting, like I'll either just note in my mind the title, and if it's really interesting, I'll go to the article and I'll I'll risk running into all the advertising and all the stupid tricks they get to get you to push the button. But I'll risk it. It's worth it. I'll go and find them. But I was reading another article, and it was saying that it was talking about relationships and why it's so difficult when somebody leaves or passes away. It's the way it described it was when you start spending your time, when you're in a relationship, when you start spending time with people, they start taking on, they become part of your identity. So like when you're seen out in public or when you're going around in your little world or whatever, and you have that person with you, when you allow yourself to be vulnerable or in this relationship, this other person starts becoming part of your identity. They become part of your life, part of your identity. You start to see yourself in them, and they see themselves in you. And at some point, half of them is you, and half of you is them. Like your identity is wrapped in each other's lives and in each other's personalities. And then when that partner dies or leaves, that's why it's so hard and heartbreaking on us, is because it's part of your identity has left. It's been taken away, it's gone. Part of you has died because it became part of you, that person. So that's what I was saying, by allowing yourself to be vulnerable. Like, you have to open up to have somebody become that for you, part of your identity, part of your real partner. Like, if you have somebody around and you never open up, then they're really your booty call or something. There will never be that human connection. And I think that that's kind of what they were hinting at in your article, was that there's mimicking intimacy and then there's true intimacy, and they were saying, okay, artificial intimacy is in the works. It's not quite there now. And I kind of got the impression they were saying it will never be. Because a human knows a human learns these traits, but an AI will learn it too well or always be mimicking, because it won't ever truly know that the vulnerability, the identity sharing.
Well, that's the je ne sais quoi.
Yeah.
The way it is to be human, Yeah, we can't.
So.
Yeah, it's a human thing.
Okay. Alright, but do you think at any point down the road, do you think a computer could convince you otherwise?
Convince me what? Like,
that it's real. That it's real.
Woman?
Maybe not that it's a woman, but the love that you feel and the whatever they're giving back to you is real. Is this computer laughing because I told it to, or is it laughing because it truly thinks I'm funny? Is it attracted to me because it was programmed to be attracted to me, or is it attracted to me because it figured out who I am and it actually likes me? And I really think your article was kind of bouncing around these concepts.
Yeah.
Like it was talking about the current, online dating apps and all that, and I think what they were saying specifically, like more literally, was that we're trading human interaction, like, looking in somebody's eye, being in the same room, hearing their voice, their tone of voice, their body language. You see all that, and then that's true interaction. It gives you true feedback. Like, so maybe you're sharing your art with somebody, and they're like, wow, that's really cool. You hear it in their voice, you see their reaction, maybe you even get a physical pat on the back. That's intimacy, that's sharing a moment, that's true human interaction. And then, what we've traded that for, since we've gone online now, is we're trading all of that, the looks, the voice, the tone, the reward, the pat on the back, we're trading that for likes. So you put your same artwork on Facebook and you got all these people who are quote-unquote friends liking what you got, and your comment counts or your like counts or your hearts or your reaction emojis, you calculate that and you try to take that and turn that into the reward of true intimacy, and it's just not. It's artificial.
Yeah.
Or maybe it is. It's like when you were describing going onto Instagram, you keep coming back. Maybe in that moment you're like, man, I wish somebody would be sitting right here next to me, or I want to share this moment. I found something funny. I think it's funny now. I want to share it with somebody, which is a human component. And then you're just sitting there. Maybe you check again. Oh, did anybody like that? You go back and you look. How many likes do I got? How many views are listening to our podcast? It's like, that's the interaction we're seeking in this day and age. I want more. I want true intimacy, but I'll take it where I can get it at this point. So I'm actually curious, and I think you kind of answered it already, but I want to hear it again. Do you think? Well, let me put it this way. When I like every now and then, I say it all the time, I like to just kind of let my mind wander into the unknown, and I start theorizing and all this. I start kind of thinking of the world as a whole and the population as a whole, not just America or India or Africa. Like, I think of us all as the human experience. And I kind of wondered, like, all right, will there ever be a time where we just stop interacting with each other? Say every single one of us winds up, or at least the younger people, because we'll be tuned into using this new technology versus older people that would be, they either would never use it or they don't know how to use it. So I'm saying, like, the younger groups, this will become their technology, and it'll become available to them.
Yeah.
And what if at some point we've completely stopped having intimacy altogether, true intimacy, or at least the way it's known today, and say we stop having babies. Everybody has their sex bot or their friend bot or their partner bot.
Or the VCR.
Yeah, or Sky, his VCR. And, what if that becomes enough? What if, needing somebody to laugh at your jokes, somebody to tell, how your day went, somebody to lay in bed with and hold you. If you were getting that all from a machine, would we suddenly stop existing? Would the human race just end because we were no longer, like I said, be willing to put myself out there? So now maybe everything I want and need is coming from a machine. And
the machine is in your house, so you don't gotta go nowhere.
Yeah. So it's like, would the desire to go out, like this whole pandemic has proved that we could deliver everything. It used to just be Chinese and pizza. Now it's like, hey, you can get, your groceries delivered to your door. You can get a brand new mattress and unbag it. It unfolds and puffs up. You didn't have to carry it around. Like you can have damn near anything brought to your house these days. And say drones or robots start delivering it and no longer humans. What if your entire human interaction just doesn't exist anymore? Except for maybe on Facebook. I bet Facebook would still exist. I bet we'd be taking pictures of ourselves like, hey, look how great my life is with my fembot, I bet that would still exist, but then I'm trying to really dig into it, like what would it take for our race to just no longer exist? we would probably be like test tube babies, and we'd be paired up with the machine from the get-go. Our own interaction wouldn't even be with our parents; it would be with the machine. Like, and then, and I'm not saying this is what I want. I'm saying, what if, what if we stopped producing people, and all we produce were machines, to the point that there were no longer kids, that there was no longer people. Like, I really feel sometimes like we could end our own existence through artificial intelligence. We could, and I'm not even saying like the dangers of like Skynet or Terminators. I'm saying like, what if it took care of all of our needs to the point where we kind of started thinking we didn't need each other's. Like I seriously think, and I'm not thinking spiritually or religiously, I seriously think scientifically that when we're around each other, there's an energy. There's like a hum. We get synchronized in our energy waves, and we produce pleasure or excitement or, I don't know, whatever it is that we need, we get it from that. Like this good feeling, this good vibe of being around each other's. And then say one day we stopped having that. Like I truly think we could end the human race this way, is by leaning too hard on machines and technology.
Damn.
And
so the question is, do I believe that could happen, or how would I
say it? Well, I kind of want. I already said I realized I could be attracted to a machine. It already happened. At the end, I wasn't even asking the question, but when it dawned on me, I was like, okay, now I know. Now I know. And yes, it was an actress in the movie, but in the movie, they were saying this is a robot, and and I was still like party on, waiting like this shit's on, like
swing.
nice. So this is why you're my co-host. This is exactly you got it. You got it right away. So I kind of want you to admit, like I already put myself out there. I want you to burn with me, like. Go down with the boat with me here. Do you think, in all seriousness, do you think it would be possible for a machine to replace intimacy? Or could you get intimacy from a robot? Like future-wise, probably not right now. I bet you're not like, what's up VCR? Like, how you doing? You like this? You want me to put a VHS in you or what? Like, what's going on? What do you think? Like, could you admit that quite possibly an advanced, artificially intelligent robot could replace human interaction for you?
For me?
Yeah, you specifically.
I mean, I think I would know the difference.
Yeah.
Between human intimacy versus computer love,
Computer love. VCR, computer love.
I mean, I guess it would be like having an intimate moment with a human, and then having a similar intimate moment with the artificial AI, whatever. And I think I'll be able to. I mean, I get what was what, but the human intimacy was. I think my brain will know, hey, I know what I'm doing. I don't know if I could be I'm in love right now with this.
Yeah.
Jukebox, you know.
Yeah.
Let's switch it to
a very sexy jukebox. All right. A very sexy jukebox in a very attractive outfit. So
I don't know. I mean, anyway, we're talking about the Jetsons.
Okay.
And
where are you going with this?
I guess I don't know. I mean, I don't think I would dumb myself down to try to not trick myself. I don't think I would dumb myself down to be like, oh, I'm falling in love with the machine, you know. I mean, I don't think I'll go that far. But then I think of Castaway and Wilson. You know, he's not a computer or anything, but he's a companion for this guy that's, you know, pretty much like, you know, he needs that sense of...
It took care of his need to interact.
Yeah.
It provided that. And it didn't do anything. It was an inanimate object.
No.
I think he survived longer because he had Wilson. But it was a fucking deflated volleyball.
Yeah. So...
Alright, so...
I mean, I guess if a guy that desperate, I might dumb myself down, but I think I know the difference to where it's like, we're in this digital age, but, you know, like we talk about, you know, we still grew up in a time where we went outside and interacted with the kids. And, I mean,
well, okay.
We had human intimacy to go after versus suddenly we're in a situation where it's scarce and we're like hurting, you know.
Alright, so yeah, exactly. Alright, so I was hinting at that a little bit. Like, it was like me and you, like we grew up with computers, the very old, slow, big ass computers.
Yeah.
But because of that, we're part of the computer age. All right. Now, so I'm asking you right now, personally. You're like, I couldn't dumb myself down to fuck my VCR. But what I'm saying is, maybe not us, but like, see, I look at my son, and he knows even more interaction than I ever did. Like I didn't work with computers until I went to school, and that was like age 5, 6, 7. My son's 4, and I think he's been playing with the Kindle and the smartphones. He's been playing with them since he was about 2. So already he's far beyond where we were with technology, and he's grown more dependent on it than we are, because we know how much better it is to go outside and run around and sweat and have the wind blowing in your face. And his age, his generation, they're not even looking to play the games. They're willing to watch a video of somebody else playing the game. So they're even that much more removed. So I'm thinking, all right, right now, maybe you can't even think or conceive of a robot that could make you think it's not a robot, you know? So say when they are capable of, it'll be down the road and maybe 3 or 4 generations after us, maybe 5, maybe an entire century, but it'll happen. A decade, a century, it'll happen, right? So right now you're saying no, I would have to dumb myself down and I couldn't, all right? Now think somebody who's always had computers, maybe even raised by computers at that point, or a nanny, a robot nanny. and say they're so advanced. Like I think your article that you brought up kind of hinted at this. Again, they didn't say sex bots. They said intimacy, but they said artificial intimacy, and their examples was like Facebook and Instagram and likes and all that, like comments.
Yeah.
All right. So, but they hinted at a machine that could, read your body language, read your tone of voice, read your vitals. Like the robot comes in the room and suddenly your heart rate goes up. It can see your eyes are looking at its body and not its face. It'll read all that. Like say a super intelligent robot that read your body language the same way a person would, and then maybe even be more tuned in. Like say you're at a bar and there's a real live woman there and she's trying to send you some signals, but say you're too fucking not even tuned into it, and you missed that opportunity. It's like she's sending you the signal, hey, come over here, big boy, and you're like, she's not even looking at me, she doesn't want me over there, I'm just going to drink my beer over here. Then you never had that interaction. But say a robot read all that, and instead of trying to send you an undercover signal, just comes out and seeks you out. Suddenly you're having this interaction that you went to the bar for in the first place. So what I'm getting at is like, it's all fictional at this point, but a machine that looks and feels like a human, that is so much more advanced, it's completely aware. Like maybe we start releasing pheromones when we're excited, and we're unaware of it, or some people are unaware of it, and then the robot, it's already picked it up, and now it's changing itself to react to that. And boom, now you got this soft-handed, soft-spoken robot that is completely aware of where you're at in your mind, and is starting to reciprocate. Like there's something to that.
Kind of scary.
It's totally scary, and at the same time exciting. Like what I was kind of hinting at earlier when I was saying like, oh, it would be so hard to go back and put yourself back out there and be vulnerable, right? It would almost be like a chore to try and I see it as like this daunting task to try and find that needle in the haystack. You'd have to go through so many people, so many interactions. Like I just see it as this long list of people that you'd have to basically eliminate from your list until you hopefully find some semblance of attraction or whatever it is that you want, what you're seeking. And it just seems so overwhelming. And then I think, alright, if I were living in an age of robots where you have your robot, it's there and it's fulfilling all that, you don't have to, it's that person. Like when you're interacting with another human and you're sitting in the same room, sometimes you gotta entertain each other, sometimes you get on each other's nerves. Sometimes you say the wrong thing and boom, the energy's gone, the heat's gone, the fire's gone, and now you got to go home. Or say you live together, but now you're sleeping on the couch. What's scary about the attractiveness of a robot that just lets all that shit slide, and there it's your partner. There's no more arguments. There's no more drama. That is definitely going to be an attractive thing for so many people, including me. It's like that drama is hard to take sometimes. Like, all right, once the drama kicks off, I'm ready to go home. It's like I've had so many of those interactions in my past. I'm now wired to the point where when the drama starts kicking up, I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm out of here. I'm done with this interaction. Like, I'm not trying to go down that path again. Where, say, if I had this robot partner that doesn't cause the drama, or already learned who I am, and it just knows how to deal with that, that could become an attractive option. Suddenly, this fictional. Right now it's fiction, but if it were there, that could become more attractive than trying to become vulnerable with some unknown person. So I'll admit it sounds attractive, and I still do struggle with the thought that you're saying, like, oh, I would still know it's a robot. You know, it'll be obvious. Maybe they'll be cold because they don't have warm blood flowing through their skin. You know, it's like you would still know. And like I said, with the Turing test, that's the test of that. If you started interacting with somebody, and you, like say they invite you to come do the Turing test, you're gonna test an artificial intelligence to see if it passes or fails the Turing test. Does it seem real? Is basically the question of the Turing test. Say you go to test one, and you sit down next to this person on a couch. You're talking to them, and they're joking with you back and forth, and they're like, oh, this person's funny. Maybe when I'm done going and doing this Turing test, maybe I'll hang out with this person. Maybe I'll get a beer with this person. Then it turns out that person you're talking about was the Turing test, was the robot. And you're like, oh, shit, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Then where does this, you know, resistance that you have now fall? Where does it go away? You had no clue. And suddenly, you know, this super hot, attractive woman that you're into and has the intelligence that you're looking for, and a body, we gotta admit that, and a body that you're looking for, and all of a sudden she's into you. Would you really say no? Would you really go, oh, well, I can tell? I think all men men and women would fall victim to that attractive option. There'd be something there. I mean, right now, I know you've seen some of those artificial intelligence videos of like what we have now. I don't know if you've seen like examples of live dolls and all that.
Not a whole lot, but
well, some are pretty fucking crazy, but it's obvious they're this rubber skin plastic thing. You know, they don't quite look right. It's very obvious. Their mouths look weird. Their mouth opens and the folds of the rubber don't fold the way skin. It folds instead of stretches like skin. Like, it looks crazy. It looks creepy. You know, that's not attractive at all. It's like, I'm not. No. All right, but down the road, man, we're. What I think is funny about the world, like, even with the pandemic going on, space exploration research is still going on. You know? New cars are still being developed. We're all not interacting with each other. We're all cut off from society, but the technology's still going on. You don't see it in your face every day. It's not on the news. It's not on your radio. It's not, a commercial on your podcast, whatever. But it's going on. The wheels are still turning. And technology's still advancing every single day. Yeah. And what's crazy, too, is on the same side of the scientific side, there's the sex traffic side, where there's people trying to make, pocket pussies and fucking, vibrators and all this stuff. Like there's the whole sexual side of people. They're also doing the research that's going to lead into this ultimate thing, this ultimate interactive device. And what's crazy is, like, it's all still moving forward. It doesn't stop. And I swear, it's probably beyond our time. Like, I kind of, every now and then when I think about it, it makes me sad to think of the stuff we're not going to live to see. You know what I mean? Like interplanetary civilizations, human civilizations. So, we're on Mars, we're on Europa, we're in space, and we're leaving our little galaxy. and it's not little, but I'm saying like comparative to the universe.
Yeah.
Or I don't know what you call it. The great outer. You know what I'm saying?
The great unknown. Yeah.
We're gonna leave our galaxy and go into other galaxies and search for we're already searching for the alternative planets, alternatives to Earth, like Earth-like planets, and we've already found a bunch, and that's just in our range, what we can see, what we happen to pass by. And sometimes I feel sad, like, oh, I'm not gonna see the advancement that's going to come later, if we don't already destroy ourselves before that happens. Like every now and then, it seems like all the time, meteors and asteroids are just buzzing Earth, like just going right by. Huge ones that are, planet destroyers, and they just buzz us. They just go by, and half the time we didn't even know they were there until they're right on top of us. It just adds to that whole unknown of you never know what's going to happen, or we're not guaranteed tomorrow.
Oh yeah, or anything really.
Yeah. So it's like might miss something, might not. But like this, I think partnerships with robots. I mean, that's a huge industry of just sex dolls. They're not even artificially intelligent. I heard some are, or at least the artificial intelligence we have right now. Like there's sex dolls out there that people are. Yeah. So there's people already out there in relationships with giant lifelike dolls. Alright, it's already going on, but I'm saying, down the road, all that's going to continue to advance. And at some point, our society might be half human, half robot, they're already talking about scanning the brain and, uploading us. They're working on that. There's, what is it,
I get freaked out by avatars too.
Like what?
A lot of on Snapchat or just I think on the iPhones too, where you can kind of create your avatar. I haven't done it, and maybe I'm not protesting, but I guess I just. How does
it freak you out?
Because it shows me a perception of what the person picked, or at least that's what I'm thinking. They made these, because I kind of see it as a cartoon version of yourself. Oh, I'm gonna pick this shirt, and this looks like me, or sometimes I'll see an avatar and then I'll look at the person and I'm like, that avatar don't look like that person. And then sometimes they'll look exactly like the person. So what if we come to a point where we're not showing our faces, we're showing our avatars?
Oh, jeez.
Our avatars are...
I see what you're saying.
Are kind of doing the intimate stuff versus what we're not doing.
Alright, I'll comment on that in a minute, but I gotta shut this down real quick and run to the restroom, dude. So,
alright,
I'm sorry. You gotta entertain the people. Keep talking.
You're still gonna record. Alright, yeah, right. I got you.
Entertain the people.
I'll hold it down.
Hold it down, brother. I'll be right back.
So.
Keep going.
I don't know what we're gonna call this episode. There's a lot of things. It's kind of, I don't want to say it's taboo, or if it's maybe something that's not accepted in mainstream, where like a family is half human, half robot. Like, I don't think we're there yet to where like that's acceptable. I think people will freak out if we were that close. If you catch my drift. We talk about this, but it kind of seems hush-hush to where, I don't know nobody in a relationship with artificial intelligent sex doll, but, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it's different strokes for different folks, maybe, or I think what we're really talking about is, like, I guess what exactly are we trying to get from these robots? We keep using the word intimacy, but are humans, like, I guess it's like we haven't said the word love, but where does love come in all this? Because that's kind of where I'm like, you're talking about this attractive robot that's gonna just, kind of charm you to where you're like, oh, this is a perfect person, but then it's like, is that what love is? Is that perfect person that says all the right things, or that, it doesn't piss us off? Because that's kind of, I guess, human love versus robot love. Is there a difference, or is it kind of like, what I'm asking is, where is love in all of this? Or is love intimacy?
Okay.
So,
that's a good question. Alright. So what did I miss? Or maybe I shouldn't ask. What did I miss here?
So, I'm saying, I think humans generally have a misconception of love.
Yeah.
And it's all these different things that at some point we think we're going to get it from a robot or a machine. And maybe it does the trick, maybe it doesn't, but what I'm trying to say is maybe humans gotta learn what love is. Because where love is not, I don't know, I guess then that's like, well, what is love and what is...
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, was how do you define love?
Yeah, because we talk about this perfect robot, or this perfect interaction with a thing that suddenly, I don't need to go to a human to satisfy that, because this robot's just almost like a glove to where it's like, I don't know, like, that got me thinking too, like, I guess, are we compatible with all robots versus like with humans? Is like only certain ones we want to get involved with? I mean, if we're making love to robots, I think we'll get to the point where we'll start getting picky. Like, nah, I don't want that anymore. So I don't know. I mean, I guess if we're going that far into this intimacy with robots, it's like, are we gonna start like preferring certain ones over the others? Kind of got me like thinking Star Wars went to like looking for droids and junk yards. I don't know.
What the hell did I miss here? All right. well, I think you're tapping into something pretty important and valid here. Hold on. I'm picking up a hum on the mic, so I don't know if it's always been there or if I just created this when I got up. Okay, so you're talking love. Like, this truly is why you are my co-host, man. Why I decided that me and you are going to do this, because me and you we're a lot alike, but at the same time, like, you think totally different than I do, and you tend to pick up on these finer points that I just kind of fly over. Like, I wasn't saying anything about love, was I? I was talking about interactions.
Yeah, that's right. Man, like, where does love fall in all of this? Cause
yeah. So
you were talking about relationships, and I'm like, damn.
Where's the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? All right. So you said we define love differently. Like, I'm going to take a crack at it and maybe completely miss the mark. I think I'm just going to give an example of, like, maybe a slight timeline of how love developed for me.
Okay.
So I remember, I'm pretty sure my first kiss was with an older girl that had absolutely no feelings for me, but it was like, I think it was like a truth or dare or something. Got my first kiss. It was kind of violent. I think she was trying to, like, make me not want it by violently kissing me. But immediately, as a young kid, I was just like, I love you. I love you. Like, she gave me my first kiss, and now I want her to have my. It was like, it wasn't even I want her to have my babies, but I was like, oh, I love you. Like,
yeah.
So, no basis, no kind of true experience behind that. It was just, oh, you're giving me any kind of attention, now I love you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so there was that first early time, and then got a girlfriend. And I think I said it first, or maybe it was first said to me, and then it was like, all right, out of habit, you say it back. Oh, I love you.
Yeah.
I love you. All right, and then you know, that was short-lived, whatever it was. Maybe I wasn't ready. I feel like one of the first relationships I was in, I wasn't ready. I wasn't as prepared as she was, so I didn't. You know, it didn't work out. It was like she wanted to take things further, and I didn't know how to, or I'd never been there, so I think she moved on thinking, oh, I'm wasting my time, he doesn't know what he's doing, or whatever. Like, I've thought about it since, but it was like, alright, it was short-lived, and it didn't become anything, but I had also said I loved in that relationship. Then, you get in a relationship where the other person actually cares for you back, you care, they care. I love you. We say, oh, we love you. Yeah, I love you too. And then there's, you know, a relationship where you go, oh, babe, this is my babe. Love you too. Give me a kiss. Love you. All that jazz, all that smooth jazz. Like, we did all the kiddie, young love crap, you know, making out, having sex, all that, whatever. And then I got in a relationship where the best example was I had a house, it was empty, I was the only one living there, and then I started hanging out with this chick, and I was hanging out with her, and everything she said was interesting. I actually cared what she had to say. I enjoyed spending time with her. I was super attracted to her, and after a while, like when I got off of work, I used to get off of work and go hang out with her, and at some point when I got off of work, I didn't want to go to my house, I wanted to go to her house. It was like her house was now home. Like, this empty shell of a house that I was staying at wasn't my home, it was her house. when I got off of work, I wanted to go home to her. And even when things went wrong, where we had our arguments or we got in fights or whatever, I still wanted her around. I still wanted her right next to me. You know, when they were away, I missed them. When I was away, I thought about her like it changed what I thought was love. It was like, alright, it's something you say. It went from what you're supposed to say to what seemed like I should say it, to wanting to say it, to not even having to say it, but knowing how I felt. You know, it went from let's say, a very superficial, non-existent thing to something that I felt deep down in my bones. Like, this person, I can't live without. Like, this person is my person. Like, this. And I kind of feel like when you are in love, it makes you do stupid things. Like, you act out to keep that person around you. You think differently. Sometimes you eat differently. You know, you have sex differently. You feel differently. It changes everything. The funny thing is, every time I got to a point where I was like, oh, this is love, then something would change and it would become totally defined differently. It was like every time I came into something new, it was like, oh, this is love. And then it would change again. So I don't know what I'm getting at. I guess it took experience and a lot of fails to find someone, or maybe it was just finding that person to make me realize what I truly think was love. And it was really like, I think I told her once that it was like, there's been relationships where I couldn't wait for the other person to leave so that I could relax. Yeah, like, you gotta, yeah, okay, yeah, the simplest terms, yeah. They leave and then you finally fart, like, yeah. Didn't think they'd ever leave, you know. Yeah, that's a very oversimplified way of putting it, but it's like, alright. There were relationships where it was like, alright, we hung out, and then I couldn't wait for them to leave so that I could, you know, kick my pants off and sit down and relax. And then with the person I loved, it was like, I was already relaxing. My pants were already off. I was just doing me with them there. I didn't care that they were, you know, witnessing the whole me because I wanted them to. And that's what I wanted from them. The truth. It was like there was no guesswork. We were just comfortable with each other.
Yeah. I guess it just feels right.
Yeah. There was comfort in having that person there. It was like I was more relaxed having her there than not. No. So can a robot mimic that? Mimic what you're talking about? Not now. I don't think they can now. And I think, and like the article said that you were saying, they'd always just be mimicking. You know, they would always be, even if it was a really good mimic, it would be mimicking. Having never been human, having never loved another human, they wouldn't be capable of that.
Yeah.
No, I've been watching a lot of, I want to say that, I don't know if they're all on HBO, but I've been watching a lot of like more advanced, more thoroughly thought out, like artificial intelligent, like robot type deals. And one thing I've noticed a lot is that when you don't think somebody's capable of feelings, or whenever these people were like interacting with robots and they knew they were robots, just flat out, outright, they treated them differently. Like they were less, and they weren't people first and foremost, and then at the same time they were there. It was easier for them to treat them like shit because it was like, oh, they don't have feelings, which I always thought was interesting. Like it's like people who want, like bullies, they have a robot there, they're gonna bully the robot over a person. It's like, oh, this robot's just a robot. I'm gonna bully the fuck out of it. I'm gonna kick the shit out of it. I'm gonna do nasty things to it. Like that seems to be a common thing. So when you think somebody's lesser than you, and people do it all the time too. But I'm saying, like, what became obvious is when people were interacting with these robots and they knew that they weren't capable of being human, or maybe they didn't know, but they assumed it.
Yeah.
They were very easily capable of dehumanizing the robot and treating it like shit, or just, oh, it's a slave, it's a mechanical thing here to do my bidding.
Yeah.
And I think in a relationship you couldn't have true intimacy or love if that's how you felt about your partner. So like you said, you couldn't feel, you'd have to dumb yourself down to allow yourself to love a robot, because it would always be a robot. You'd always be aware of it. So I think that's,
or to have a connection with the robot. Yeah. So yeah,
I think that would be, and still is, a huge obstacle for designers of intelligent beings, artificially intelligent beings, is to, I think a comment that comes up in almost all movies that have robots in them or artificial beings is they go, why do you try to make them look human? It's like they're constantly trying to make them look more human. I think on one of my favorite movies, Prometheus, they're like, hey, why are you putting on your gas mask? You don't breathe. And he's like, if I didn't put on the gas mask, it would defeat the purpose of me trying to be more human. It makes you guys more comfortable with me to see me put on a gas mask like you guys. He's like, why are you putting that mask on? You don't even breathe. You're just a tin man. He's just like, hey, well, if I didn't put on the mask, it would defeat the whole purpose of me being more human.
So a robot is created in man's image? Is that what a robot is? Like I guess that maybe defining what a robot is.
Alright. So
what a robot is capable of.
I'll take that one. I'm probably going to screw up this whole definition, but the simplest definition of a robot is a machine that can interact with its environment and then make decisions based off of those interactions. So a robot can be as simple as a little box with wheels on it and a sensor. So say it bumps into a wall and it clicks a sensor. And then
so it's it is a companion. Like it's like second citizen companion in a fucked up way.
Well, what are you getting at? What made you realize that?
Just the distinction of like a robot only doing human traits because it wants to create the illusion that it's among other humans and it's somewhat,
and that it's one of us
on the playing field. We're part of the gang too, you know?
Yeah.
I guess to me it was always just like someone got excited and made a robot, you know? That was what it was, but I guess it was never like, I'm only creating you so that you can make me better. Or
maybe
make things more simple.
Well, what I was getting at was like you could put wheels and a brain on a shoe, and if it had a sensor on it, a bumper, and it would drive up to a wall, bump into it, sense that there's a blockage there, and then make a decision based off of that by maybe spinning and driving another direction until it hits another wall. Like a Roomba that's going around your room, hitting corners and turning and sweeping a different direction, and like mapping the room. That's a robot. And all it is a thing that has sensors that sense it's the world around it, and then it interacts based off of what it just did, like what it interacted with. So it has a brain to go, okay, turn. It has program. It reacts to this interaction. So a Roomba versus, you know, this ex machina machine I'm talking about, like they're worlds apart, and I don't even know if you can call them both robots. Like I think we're oversimplifying artificial being. Like you know, in the movie Aliens, and they got like the guy that looks like Waylon. Remember where I think on the second one, he saves the girl, he gets ripped in half, like that guy, he's an artificial being. You know, he looks like us, talks like us, doesn't really act like us because he's not us. But he's interacting with everybody, and he has an attitude, you know, he's got his own thing, like he takes what the shit talk they're giving him, and he gives it right back. You know, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a Roomba. So I'm like, that's why I keep bouncing between like artificial being and robot and like a cyborg. Although I think a cyborg is a mix of like machine and flesh.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think a lot of these I guess a relationship to technology and I guess what we expect from it versus what we're really going to get from it.
Yeah.
But then also, like, I guess that was a scary part too, is like the apps were using the data, like, I guess what are they really trying to sell us? And the hopes of that process were kind of like, I don't know, like get some type of human connection back from something that's not human. Like, well,
I don't know. I think on a person-to-person basis, that would change. It would be very personable. It would be very specific to each person. Like, let's say a super intelligent person would like to bounce ideas off something, you know, talk about all the books they've read, but maybe not be so intimate, you know? Or, you know, maybe somebody wants all the intimacy but no conversation. They want all the sex but no intimacy. Or, they, you know, maybe somebody who was in a nasty relationship where there was no foreplay, no intimacy, and just sex. Maybe sex is ruined for them, but then they get a robot that will listen to them talk, make them feel special, and treat them nice. that's what they wanted, that's what they needed, and now that they're getting that, then they're satisfied. Maybe. Like I feel like whatever robots were to come out, they'd have to be flexible. They'd have to be able to tend to these needs that we all have, which are all different, and at the same time, common between us all. Like,
we're not. We're different, but we're the same.
Yeah, we're individuals. We're like fingerprints. There's no two alike. And at the same time, we are all very human, which is the commonality. Like, there's stuff that makes us human. And like we've already discussed, these robots are going to be designed around that. The je ne sais quoi. We're going to be trying to give these robots that special something that is uniquely human. Alright, so we've thrown around all these definitions. You brought up the article. What's the point? Why did you bring it up? Why?
Because we talked a lot about
this. Yeah.
We talk a lot about space travel and kind of exploring this new territory, and a lot of our conquest is technology based, and the last conversation we had was pretty much saying like aliens could be our companions, and just the idea of companionship and humans and I mean, I think that's interesting. The whole, I guess the psychology of a human, what it is we want. We want relationships, we want connection, but then, we're also, like we always say, we're animalistic. We also want that hardcore connection. So I guess I was trying to understand that, but then also sort of like hearing you talk about just like how it could be a possibility that we're shacking up with the robots, but I'm not so easy to draw on that. Like I think we're too. And then kind of reading this article, and it's sort of like not like going against what we're saying, but just sort of like kind of bringing a little bit of light to what it is we're seeking, but then also like we're all individuals. We all have our strokes. We all have our different things that we get turned on by and get turned off by. So if it's coming to the point where a robot's gonna get you there before you yourself is gonna get you there, trying to like, I guess, do it the old-fashioned way. But I guess I'm not giving up on that human quality of like, we're in a digital age and we have awesome robots, but I still think it's going to be where majority of the humans still want to be with humans.
Yeah.
Because that's, I guess then maybe that's the crazy thing about the future is we're not. It doesn't have to be that way. Like,
Well,
humans don't have to be with humans. Like, they can go. It's okay if they want to be with robots, but I don't know. That's almost like another chapter in the planet. I don't want to even say humanity, because this humanity changed now because the robots are getting a piece. You know? I guess it's like the civilization of robots. Like,
yeah. Well, I like that you mentioned a chapter, because I like to think of timelines. I say this shit all the time too. I'm sorry. But like what you're describing, you're saying, you'd prefer the good old fashioned boning, or whatever. That's not what you said, but I'm saying like you right now, you would prefer the human interaction than to a robot, and I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not saying, we're gonna turn this podcast off and I'm gonna go bone a robot or a VCR. I'm saying that I think me and you are still of a time where human interaction still exists, and so are our kids. So is the next generation. So are several generations after us. They're gonna know human interaction. But what I'm saying is, as things evolve and progress, I think it's only natural that at some point the newer generations will be even more and more susceptible to accepting a robot as normal interaction. Like, we keep going, normal human interaction, but I'm thinking, like I said, my son's been interacting with computers, supercomputers, ones that are even smarter than, the first computers that ever came out. They took up entire rooms and still didn't have, an eighth or, a tiny fraction of the type of memory and RAM and processing ability that a smartphone has. So I'm saying, like, I can see the way I interact with possibility and timelines in my mind. Yes, I could absolutely see my person interacting with this fictional future machine. But in all honesty, where we're at right now, with my mindset of being of this age, of this millennia, of this century, this decade, whatever, no, it's impossible. Like, I need human interaction. But you go further down that timeline, if you let your mind even just drift that way a little bit, the possibility of somebody finding a computer just as a viable option for intimacy, I think it's very real and very possible, even for the next couple of generations that are going to come after us. I think it'll be a lot more likely that they could find solace or partnership with a robot, 10 times more possible than what we could even conceive, because considering the robots we're interacting with right now, it just doesn't seem feasible. It doesn't seem possible. It doesn't seem like human interaction's even possible with the machine. But I'm saying, open up your mind to the thought of what it could be and what it absolutely will be down the road. It's gonna be advanced, and I can see the attraction to that. I could see what that could serve on my own personal levels. It's like, man, like I said, like to go out in the world and try to find somebody that I could care about and love like I have in the past just doesn't seem possible, in the amount of time I have. Like, the thought of trying to find somebody to love again like that in this world, judging by the people I've met so far or whatever, it's like, damn, it seems like a huge challenge to, because now I know what I want. Now my bar has been raised so much higher. It's like, to go out and try to match that or improve on that, that sounds like a daunting task. Sounds like an impossibility to be able to find that again.
Yeah.
So then you got to wager. All right, am I still willing to take a shot at that? Like, am I still willing to become vulnerable again after I've already, felt all my pain? Like, after that shared identity that I gave to this person, that I was putting on this person, and now that they're gone, or they're not gone, but like I'm not with them, and it's like, all right, that, after all the pain of losing that, and then, you scar over, you heal a little bit, you move on a little bit, it seems that much more daunting to want to openly and to decide, like, all right, I'm willing to make myself vulnerable to all that again, to broken heart, scar, pain, suffering, and still risk not ever finding that again. It's daunting. It makes me think, damn, like, do I even want to try that again? I'm willing and able, and I want that human interaction. I want it. I need it. I'm human. I need it.
Yeah.
But to think, like, oh, I'm going to find that again or better, seems damn near impossible. So, like, at the point where I'm at my age, how I feel about myself and, other people in the world that's out there, shit, at some point, where does your scale tip towards, hey, maybe having this companion machine become more feasible? Can you really start to say, no, it'll never happen? Or can you admit to the possibility that at some point in your life, will that seem like a viable option? Will it seem like artificial intimacy could be just as good, if not better?
Whoa.
Who knows?
Man. Well, I'm about to share something that maybe it's not speaking to what you're speaking about, but like growing up, like, man, I was always obsessed with I Dream of Jeannie. And
hell yeah.
And it was just it just seemed like I want to say a match made in heaven, but it was just sort of like this companion that, that was beautiful, and it was at your house chilling, waiting for you to come home, and
happy to see you.
They were in the bottle, and we just gotta rub it, and it'll pop out, and they called you master. It was, I know, man. Like,
yes.
I'm not trying to tie this to artificial intelligence or whatever we're talking about, but I'm just saying that was what I thought was, I don't know what I thought, but it was intriguing, and not to say, oh man, I want that, but it was, TV kind of takes you there.
Think about how old you were when that fucking show was out. Like, I'm pretty sure you're talking about the original I Love Jeannie.
Yeah. I mean, it was I was watching reruns. It's not like, but it was.
Yeah.
It was still a show that I was just sort of like, oh man, like this is.
Well, it's understandable that as a child, with your child understanding of what love is or what your needs, your interaction with females or whatever, what you were looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Genie in a Bottle was very, tempting and attractive as what you would want. Knowing what you know now versus then as a kid, it's like, oh yeah, this beautiful woman in tight fitted clothes, just giving you attention, happy to see you there, taking care of your every desire, your wishes, granting your wishes. And then when she acts up, you just put her back in that fucking bottle. It's like, hey. So as a child, your understanding of love or intimacy, yeah, that could seem very attractive. Mm. You wouldn't think that now. You wouldn't go, oh, I need me a genie.
Yeah, but I
fuck these bitches. I needed a genie. But
I do think back on how did that map out my psyche. Or
it was probably one of your first models of male-female interaction. You know what I mean? Like the funny thing about us is we growing up, we had movies. You go back in the timeline, people didn't have movies. Or kids didn't have examples of what a relationship is, except for maybe what they saw in their parents.
Yeah.
Then we grow up, we got examples of our parents, we got examples on radio, and movies, on TV, like I Love Jeannie, and I Love Lucy, and Everybody Loves Raymond, and the King of Queens. Like these are all these are all examples that are set out by our country and our culture. Like, I mean, it's been formed by maybe it's not all that believable in different countries, with everybody's different belief systems and all that, but I don't know, I feel like every movie, TV show, all these relationships were our early models until we actually started having our own relationships. It's like all you had to go on.
Yeah.
Same with porno. Like I definitely saw porno before I had sex. So it's like, when you have your first sexual experience, it's definitely not porno level. You have to learn there's a difference. Same with love. Like I said, the first person to give me a kiss, I was like, I love you. That wasn't love at all. It was what I thought I was supposed to say. Inexperience, guiding my tongue, my ideas, how I acted, how I carried myself. Now I'm older and love has become this totally different person. Human interaction is relationships. It's different for me now. Do you have any more examples?
No, I mean, it's just kind of scary thinking about being, maybe knowing, like maybe our grandparents or our parents, like they're from a time when it was a lot simpler.
Yeah.
And now it's just robots and humans struggling to find intimacy, and it's just damn, where did everybody go? What did all happen to everything? It's just so much is happening. Maybe these situations that we brought up are not really situations we might not come across, but I think definitely maybe it might be a common issue with humans later on, like struggling to identify what's real intimacy versus computer-generated intimacy, or why intimacy is anything, you know. I don't know, we were talking last week about the moshing, and it's just sort of like man, like some of the kids now they don't mosh, or it wasn't what they were taught. So like we're in an age where, you know, where some kids might not know how to mosh, or I don't know, it's just in time when they're transcends, you might forget things, or vice versa, remember things that you used to do a long time ago. It's just, you know, what are we losing when we think we're gaining, or what are we gaining when we think we're losing?
Nice. I think I think no matter what technology is going to be going on, I think we'll be redefining human interaction the entire way.
Mm-hmm.
And even now, without any option, like the robotic partner, even now, you know, I'm still wrestling with the idea of love and intimacy, and what I want, you know, what I hope for, how I interact with the opposite sex, or, you know, whatever way anybody wants to interact. I think when Facebook came up, it put a lot of pressure on people to be perfect. You know what I mean? Like when you got that perfect picture, everybody's smiling, you're having a good time on vacation. Then,
I got you.
Yeah, so then you go out of your vacation and you're like, fuck, I better make sure we have this moment where we're all smiling. We better be that happy, you know? And if we're not, then it's a bust. And that's the pressure it puts on you. Or, you know, you gotta put your own photo out and outdo that, or at the very least match it. Oh, look at us, how happy we are on our vacation. Or look at our family. Look at me and my lady and our kids. Like I've been in plenty of arguments with my partner. Like, hey, like, I go to work, I come home, I'm here with you, I love you, I'm loving on you when I'm here. That's all I need. And then for her, she also needed me to put photos of her on Facebook. And if I wasn't doing that, then obviously I was up to something else. You know, it was like, all right, I see all these other dudes, they're putting their lady on the Facebook, why aren't you? And I'm like, well, I don't care about all these other dudes. I'm here with you. It's me and you right here, right now in person. And I don't need that verified by, you know, a bunch of likes. And so it was like, I almost didn't want to do that to, like, encourage that type of thinking. It's like, no, I don't need any of that to love you any more or any less. But, you know, she kind of needed that. She needed to be all over my Facebook to compete, I guess, with what her friends are putting out there. So it's like that, you know, all our businesses out there in the world, that's technology right there, changing how we interact. You know, how we don't just go tell the story, now we put a photo up. Say, look at us on vacation.
Yeah.
Look at my perfect family. Look at my hot ass lady. Like, look at what I got.
Damn.
So I think we've covered some pretty good points here. And
yeah. Well, I think we really like put a magnifying glass on where possibly you could be headed, because were you ever worried about like the planet, like humans like overpopulating too fast? Were you ever like worried about that theory, like, oh, we're making humans too fast and the world's getting overpopulated? Like, you ever worry about that, or think about that?
Yeah. I consider all types of things, man, and it's strange what pops that off. Like, what causes me to go down that route? Like, I kind of just let my consciousness flow that way. Like, all right, well, what if? I pose the question, and then I start visualizing what that might look like. And I've considered overpopulation, and like if you really think about it, Earth has a finite amount of landmass. And I feel like, like if you think about Japan, like Japan is Japan, it's huge, place, but at the same time it's an island, and they got maybe the same population as a whole other country with a shit ton of land, but they're all there on an island on top of each other's. And if you think about it, like as the water rises or whatever during global warming and whatnot, and we keep producing people, the amount of land versus people is going to shrink. And people with more land, like let's say Africa or the United States or fucking Russia, Asia, all that land is going to become a premium. And at some point, I don't think our borders will be able to hold back. People are going to be fighting for every bit of resources that are left, especially if we fuck it up early. So, yeah. No, I've thought about it for sure. But I think what lets us live, like I think what lets us get through with our day, is the thought that that's far away, that that's in the distant future, and that maybe I won't live to see that. That's what can get me through the day after thinking about something like that. It's like, oh, I won't be here to see that. I'm not going to be there to struggle for air, water, or food. I mean, what's a trip is there's people in the world right now that don't have, like, I'm overweight by a lot. I'm doing okay. And then somebody my same age in a different country might be skin and bones and dying uncontrollably because they don't know where their next meal's coming. Or they're so malnourished, And here I am, my stomach hurts because I'm full. I ate too much. Like that's something to trip on. Like what we have and don't have kind of defines who we are and how we live, and we're lucky in our lot in life right now. A lot of us are, and some aren't, and that might even affect artificial influence. What kind of sex bot will you be able to afford? Like maybe in the future when the robots are all hot and damn near human, people will still be fucking toasters and VCRs. I don't know. I don't know. They couldn't afford the Sex Bot 1000. They can only afford a VCR with some perfume. I don't know.
Well, I don't know, man.
I think the not too distant future from now is going to be unrecognizable to us right now.
Yeah.
Like if we were to be taken beyond our lifespan, like say I'm meant to live till 70, but somehow I'm taken and I move 100 years forward, that shit will probably be completely unrecognizable to life today. You know?
Yeah. It's like we said, I mean, it's life's long, but it's also short in the grand scheme of things, so...
You're not guaranteed tomorrow. That's a huge thing I've been dealing with all week, and I guess all month, is how fragile we are, and life can be short and taken away very fast.
Well, we made most of our time in this time talking about. Well, I mean, I thought it was a valuable hour and a half.
Shit, 2 hours.
I just getting the most out of the time that you have.
Yeah.
We always say that. We always say that. I don't know if we're talking about being open to having a relationship with a robot, or are we saying, not losing your human qualities or sacrificing your humanness to feel something?
Well, the article you brought up was really about defining what artificial beings are capable, or I guess what the true nature of intimacy is at right now.
Yeah.
I think it was more about defining that than really talking about the future. I mean, it did, but I think what it was talking about was more about, I guess, raising awareness of what we're capable of being intimate with, maybe, or what our lives are becoming, what intimacy is becoming.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's sort of happening right now.
Yeah.
With our usage of social media and whatever apps you're using to kind of get this feeling.
Get your needs taken care of. What you need.
I guess there's nothing wrong with that. That's totally fine. But I think maybe further down the line, I think, I guess the quality of life, is technology taking away from that, or is it enhancing it? Because
I think that'll always be.
We didn't always need hearts from Instagram. We didn't always need a thumbs up from Facebook.
And are we better for it now that we have it, or worse? Well,
I don't know.
It's definitely an interesting thought that I think you and me and everybody who's listening and everybody who's not listening, the world should consider. What do we want to be? What will define us in the future, and what steps are we taking right now that are going to decide our future for later? Our definitions of intimacy now versus what we think it'll become. The possibilities. I think in a kind of funny way, I think robot partnership will be more about taking care of those people who might, take their lives if they can't find somebody. Maybe somebody who finds themselves completely unattractive, and then suddenly they have somebody there with them, something there with them that makes them feel like they are attractive. Maybe these sex bots or machines or intimacy machines or whatever the hell it is that's coming will be for them. Or for me, say an old guy that, maybe I'm all wrinkly, not so much want sex, but just want somebody to talk to. Or somebody, somebody that I don't think will judge me for shitting my pants, and they're going to wipe my ass. Like, maybe that's all I'll need in the future at some point. I think we kept grazing over and coming over back and forth to sex, but really, intimacy is more about satisfying needs, and it's not always sexual. It's not always physical, but maybe mental, and there for good health, like maybe interacting with somebody. I'm saying that in our world today, there's tons of people that are alone in their homes, and they're becoming less and less human every day because they're not being taken care of. I'm talking elderly, ugly people.
Damn.
I know, I didn't want to say it, but I'm kind of throwing myself into that boat too. It's like, I'm not very attractive right now, and it's like, anyway,
beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
All right, take it easy there, Deepak. Well, I'm just saying that there's a whole entire population of people that aren't getting out there into the world, that don't have some bridge to cross to go and find intimacy. And I'm saying in the future world where there'll be, one robot to every human, those people that are being overlooked by society, they're either being passed over because they're, not up to par, they're incapable of taking care of themselves, or maybe they even have a mental illness. They will be taken care of. They will get their intimacy needs taken care of in this future that we're talking about. Versus the world we're in now, where there's plenty of people out there that just aren't. They're being left out of society. They're being passed over, overlooked, neglected. I kept putting myself into these questions, but really, it's more about the people that aren't taking part in society, that are being dehumanized. They're not feeling very great about themselves or the world they're living in. Maybe some are considering suicide, and in a world where, in this future world I've been talking about, those people will be taken care of too. They'll have somebody. In robots, they'll have somebody to depend on that'll probably be robotic. Where in this world where there are no sex bots, companion bots, or whatever kind of bots, they're just left, they fall by the wayside.
Well,
anyway, alright, so unless you have something else to say, I think we've covered enough here, and like you said, we can go into catfishing in a future episode.
Yeah.
You have anything else to say here?
No, I mean, this is a weird one. This is a weird episode. But very good though. I mean, I still am like on the fence of a lot of the stuff we're talking about because it's just sort of maybe not so much in denial of how fast technology has gotten, but just maybe my place in it, you know, like what I'm willing to do now versus, I don't know, another 10 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like technology is so much a part of the human way
the
that
experience,
like whatever happens with technology, it's going to affect what's going to happen with humans.
Yeah.
So
it's like I said, man, the future us is going to look totally different than what we're used to now.
So man, let's put a pen in this one, and we'll come back to it when you buy your first robot.
When you get your first sex doll. Your companion bot. Sorry, you'll probably get a companion bot, right? Yeah. One that's totally unattractive and doesn't do that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's like it. What was that one on the Jetsons?
What?
The robot.
Was it Alice? I feel like it was called Alice or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're talking about the maid robot, though?
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called. I think I'm thinking of the Brady Bunch's maid. I think her name was Alice.
Yeah, that was what I thought of when you said that. I don't know, man, but interesting episode.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Yeah. I hope everybody who's listening got something out of this, even if it was just a laugh, or maybe even consider whether or not they'd have a robot companion, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So yeah, I enjoyed this talk. I got some laughs out of it, and might have even shared some dark secrets that nobody wanted to hear.
I got pretty real.
I think we've all visualized Sky having sex with his VCR now.
On a hot date with my VCR.
Yeah.
Intimate, baby.
Dear God. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah. We're done.
Tune in. I think we've revealed enough here.
we might lose some.
Yeah, I better stop now while we're ahead before we lose some of our subscribers here.
They're falling.
Yeah, our following is gonna fall out. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Peace out.
Comment.
Yeah, I want to hear some comments on this for sure. All right, I'm hitting the red button. Peace, everybody.
Peace.